Welcome to Monkey and Frank. My name is Dope and my body is Dom. And in this podcast, we talk about spirituality, talk about my journey with ayahuasca and other psychedelics. And one of the reasons is to be able to integrate my crazy journey and to share with you the things that I have learned from all of this teaching. So the first thing is, why do I believe what I'm saying so much? So the first thing that I believe is that here and now is the only place to be. I've been here and now for, I would say 4 months now, maybe a little bit more straight. And the magic that happens when you're here and now, when you're really, really looking at the language of the world, meaning as you're here and now, and you're experiencing life, because you don't get attached by the future or the past concerning what you're doing, the here and now shows you magic. And often as I'm here and now, I'm going to be listening to somebody, or I'm going to be really aware of what's going on. I'm going to forget what a person is saying, but somehow the illusion will provide you with the answer. Like, it's crazy how if you just trust and allow and give space to the here and now, how much it will deliver you everything. Like everything you want, everything you ever desire when it comes to answers. And so one of the, again, I wanted to share like another more reasons on the why as well. I believe like I'm not my body, and why do I go so much into the aspect of mother, God, source, everything is perfect kind of mentality and spirituality. In Peru, when I did ayahuasca that 1 week, it was insanity on how after taking the medicine, my inner monologue was really empowered by the medicine and was talking to me in such a way that I could have never even imagined. So it was very spiritual. It really gave me for the first time an opportunity to experience this type of clue to maybe what happens after, right? So, and when I came back from Peru and I started living in the here and now, as I was listening to Ram Dass or a text about the Taoism and the Bhagavad Gita and Alan Watts, they all made sense. Like everything that I was experiencing was giving me clues in my life. And maybe, I was looking for these clues, or, some people my insecurities would say like to the would say like, oh, this is crazy, like you're dreaming in woo woo shit, and you're like you believe in magic and nothing ever comes out of that. But my biggest argument is because I totally believe in science, and now I totally believe in spirituality, just for the simple fact of the placebo effect. It's insanity how much your body can accomplish because of the placebo effect. Now, even before going to Peru, just the Wim Hof breathing alone is an insane method of healing your body, your circulatory system, your heart, your anything. Wim Hof talks about it in his book. The first time that he ran into the snow in Alaska at minus whatever, his feet got really injured. And the doctor said like, oh, you'll never able to run again on the ice and blah, blah, blah. And Wim Hof, when he looked at his feeling, because he knew his feeling, he put like some sort of grease on it, like not doctor recommended at all. And he did the Wim Hof breathing. In a matter of months, he cured his feet. And you've seen all of the records that he's done, running in the desert without water, a full marathon or something like that, doing the climbing Mount Everest just in short and cleats, like insanity. So the human body has the potential to crazy heal, and I've seen it in myself in the last year. I am amazed at how looking inward and looking at the body in a way that really creates separation so that you can have a new relationship with yourself. And that even applies. I don't know if you guys ever done the Deepak Chopra 10-week meditation thing or 20 days meditation. It's insane. I did that this summer while I was going through the here and now, and it blew my mind because I noticed how bad my relationships with frequencies were, meaning how bad my relationship was with money. Because my parents fought a lot when I was young, money for me was always something that was evil. You know, it's the root of all evil. It's why there's so much corruption in the world. Money, politician, you can't, lawyers, whatever. And I realized that it was so unfair for me to judge the frequency of abundance that way, that people talk about it all the time. If you put in the time into something you love and you just not grind, but you continue doing the work, and even when you don't want to, you continue because you feel like it's gonna bring you something in return, and you're on the frequency of abundance, and then you get really successful. That is amazing. That's why The Secret is so freaking popular, because the placebo effect when it comes to you working towards a goal, a plan, an abundance, but on the abundance frequency, and you are just best friend with money and this energy, well, that's, of course, it's going to return to you. Or if you're a person that works super hard, well, of course the working hard will return to you, right? Because everything that you put in, especially with your heart and soul and creativity, it'd be people in Wall Street that really like bend over backward because they want to succeed, and they probably do. Or like when when you're gonna win, you win. When you have doubt in your heart, then it's always unsure, because that's the law of attraction. That's the placebo effect. That's science. Like even in the quantum world, when they do the assumptions, right? It's all about the possibilities of it being there. Let's check until it's there, and yes, sure enough, but it's only a possibility. It's not certain. So I believe that's why I'm jumping all in, and I'm sharing with you guys, because I feel like in this day, like where we're going in this life, is the material world in my life, I notice, is the thing that's taking me the most away from the here and now. Now I've started kind of watching television in the here and now, but I noticed that it's very difficult, because at every moment you can get taken by the story. And because for me the here and now involves a component of gratefulness, of as soon as you are here and now, you'll know that you're here and now physically, because you're going to see everything as new. As if, like tonight, I was noticing, even though I'm here and now, often I'm not here and now, meaning tonight when I was driving, I was noticing that that drive that sometimes annoys me because I just want to go and get my children and bring them back home. Today, it was the most beautiful drive, because I was noticing the houses as if I was a visitor coming to Ottawa, and I'm like, wow, this is such a beautiful scenery with the trees and everything. And I live in a beautiful area, and I remember feeling like that a lot more after I did the trip, where I really started to look at my body, and I was seeing, anyways, I want to go back to that. That's why I'm talking about it, integrating it, because being here and now, it's not just not having any thought. There's another component, and it's really hard to find, but when you find it, it just goes in a state of bliss. So it's very physical. That's another reason why I'm so passionate about this issue. Is it is so physical. My body is now becoming stronger, and I call it like my spiritual muscle, because I don't go to the gym to get bigger. I don't even go to the gym. I just I work downstairs It's when I want to do a squat, I do a squat. Why? Because I feel like my leg is asking me to release and it's tired or something. And then my arm is hurting, and then I know, like, oh, my arm wants to. So I'm listening to my body's pain and to just do, and my shoulders are now back, my legs are growing stronger. It's insane. Like, I can't believe how spiritually, I just asked Mother, and like, I would love to have a body that's functioning. I know now, like, the reason of the body. Sorry, I've been not loving you for so long, but now I see you. Let's do this together. And the other reason why I'm so adamant about it too is, since that mushroom trip, my thoughts, if they go negative or unpure, I get like an anxiety pain in my stomach. It is insanity how it's keeping me on the straight path. And I was very frustrated at the beginning for a while, but now that I'm really going back into it, it's insane. Like, I'm very happy to be talking to you guys today. I experienced the most beautiful paradox as I was driving again to pick up my children. As I was in the here and now, that's when you get the most knowledge download. And when I was getting that knowledge download, I was faced with the most beautiful paradox, and it's the paradox of memory. In spirituality, no, in life, you start off as a child and you get told by your parents, if they're not spiritual, that, you know, life is about getting a job, it's school, it's very about here and now, survival, eating food, you know, very material, right? Christmas, lots of toys, and in this culture anyways. And then as you get through life, you learn a lot of things. And once you experience spirituality and you realize that in order to be here and now and to be happy and to go towards God and all of the teachings of Hinduism and Taoism, or even the plant medicine, is that you need to let go of everything that you want, that you so you start forgetting, surrendering, and you start being here and now. And I noticed that the more here and now, the more I'm forgetting, because it doesn't matter. If you have faith that there is a God, then the only thing that is important is here and now, and what is your, you know, what are you feeling compelled to do, you know, to grow. So the paradox of forgetting is, you learn everything, then when you get spiritual, you need to forget everything. And the more you forget in spirituality, the more you learn, because the more you forget, that's when you're the most one, and that's when you get the big downloads of, you know, source. And like, just you get an understanding that the knowledge that you have inside your mind, your awareness, is not your knowledge. There's a source there that has all the knowledge. And when I was driving and I experienced that paradox, it was so funny. Like, I couldn't stop laughing at the idea that in order to learn, you need to forget, and in order to forget, you need to learn how to forget. And it's a never-ending paradox of memory, you know. That's why we forget. It's so cool. I also wanted to talk about how the human has the great ability to deassociate. And that is so important in the spiritual world with ayahuasca, mushroom, or even breath work, and your feelings and what I'm going through. When the body gets a trauma, it has the great ability to deassociate. So it's often when you have a big accident, your brain is just going to deassociate, make you forget, so that you don't have to remember that pain, right? Or if there's a trauma that is so aggressive that you see that in the mushroom, and you see that when people that do psychedelic and it gets too strong, they just deassociate, and then the body is left like me. When I did my mushroom trip, I deassociated because my body was going through such pain because I was not aware of it. So when I got the deassociation effect, where my awareness was separate from my body and my body just went into panic mode, that was a types of deassociation. But the way that I see it is that if your awareness deassociates from your body and you are looking at it and you breathe through it and you go through the experience, then it's a release. It's a, destroying wall. It's growing in your spirituality. But if you deassociate and you don't want to look at it and you get scared of it, then you create trauma. You can even also create like almost like a PTSD effect of, that's what mother keeps telling me anyways. I know nothing. I'm just talking out of my ass of what I've been noticing in when I'm here and now with mother. She, because I see it in myself. The association of me and my body is so necessary to grow in my spirituality. It really brings an awareness that helps me integrate everything. But at the same time, it's very difficult to talk about these things because of mental health, knowing that there's so many people that are like me, that are so depressed, that feel so alone in this life, and the one thing that they need is anyways, everybody goes through it. Every time they do psychedelic, they say, oh, if only they would do psychedelic, they would get the experience. But that's not true. There's something that is so meant to be with this life, and when the time comes for you to be ready to accept a higher purpose, a higher something for you to follow and grow, it's very magical. People find it in the flow state all the time. They find it with plant medicine. They find it with psychedelics. They also find it with friendship and death. When you go through a death, I've seen it with people. When you go through a death and that person is there the entire time, of the disease, the cancer, or whatever it may be, and then the person dies at the end, there's an awakening that happens often in those people when it comes to spirituality, because they see it firsthand that as a person dies and they're letting go more and more of their attachment, they become more and more themselves, and there's a release. I saw it in my uncle. I saw it in like for cancer people. It's almost as if you're doing the cleaning of your house as you're going through the disease, so that when you die, you can die kind of peacefully and go and meet God right away, compared to maybe having a tragic death and then you have to go through the process of letting go all of the things that you were attached in this life, maybe with the help of God on the other side, something. But it brings me great comfort to look at death and look at all of my body's angst about death that I created over time to grow in this spirituality. It's pretty insane when I think about it, like how far I've come. But to say that that doesn't, it gets heavier and heavier in a good way. Now that I'm really experiencing my body, when I close my eyes, right away I go in a state of having no head and expansion and a feeling of bliss. But it doesn't stop the anger, I guess, or the frustration that I see every day through people suffering in COVID situation, losing their business, not having any interaction, or having the government kind of doing this draconian ways of, and then separating the public into not misinformation, but like there's a freedom aspect to things, and there's people that are really, really afraid of death, right? And are really, really afraid of something. And then rules get passed because of fear, and I understand, because I sympathize with fear. I sympathize with frustration. I've lived it all my life, and now that all of a sudden I've discovered, spirituality and God, I'm more in the camp of freedom. But I would have been as afraid as everybody else last year. So it's hard to judge. It's hard to, is everything perfect as my teachings say? And I'm just here to witness the paradox one last time and to really let go of everything and to really get rid of all the shame of this human existence. Everything is for a reason. But the body, or even my, like, because I'm maybe new in this teachings, I still accumulate lots of trauma because of social media, because of everything that is there, because of my job, because this thing of specializing and being stuck. People would say like, oh, just find a job of your dream, but the paradox is that no matter how beautiful your job is, you're still going to have to do paperwork. You're still going to have to do some shitty thing that you're not going to want to do, and that's going to create trauma in your body, because why would you be doing something that you don't want to? Especially for, like, and then they say, well, for survival, for money. Yeah, sure. But that's the point of life. If we start saying, yeah, sure to everything, then we agree that everything has a purpose. Everything has a reason. The cow has to die for survival, and no matter how you slice it, grass dies when you eat grass. Like, everything is dying together. And what kind of respect and what kind of intention ceremony are you going to do to honor this existence? So I am devoting my life to this forever. Me, mother, and I'm, this mother thing that I have, you can call it God, Krishna, you can call it, your body, you can call it anything. Just the joy, not the joy, yeah, sure, the joy of life, the joy of being grateful, of feeling blessed, of feeling like you're enough. So that way I don't have to accumulate wealth that I wouldn't even like. It would be negative almost. Like, I want abundance that is from me letting go of abundance. I want to let it go so that it comes back to me tenfold. And that's magic right there. I've been also performing magic lately, which is, and I love sharing about it because I've got shame, but the idea of, as I'm doing an action, if ever I'm going somewhere, like tonight, again, the driving or washing the dishes, and I see myself wanting to get distracted by my phone or wanting to get distracted in a way, I would rather spend this time in devotion of the here and now and my feelings and the body, because mother is my body. So I honor myself fully, like the same way as I would honor God. The only reason why I'm not honoring God is because I want to honor myself. Self-love is the most important thing, and the way for me to do it is to have that higher power. And I love the paradox of, like, God creates mother, mother creates God to be able to experience himself through mother, and it's a circular kind of paradox. And I am this God, and she is my body, and together we are doing the work for the purpose of God, which has to be forgotten in order to be really experienced. And that's another thing that I believe. Like, if ever somebody's doing something very horrible in this life, they are going through something so that they can experience the opposite. So I believe, like, I had 1,000 lives. Like, I've experienced every single one of you guys' life. You are me. So if, I can see myself experiencing a life where I couldn't help myself to be a pedophile or a killer or a murderer or being a fucking Hitler, because I noticed in my own life that I didn't really have a choice. The environment really played a big factor. Like, almost, it really makes me question on how much free will we have from my life and from my past experience. I remember a lot, and the environment played a big role, and it almost seemed meant to be. I was meant to feel this type of anger, this type of depression, this type of darkness, in order to see the contrast and to see that, oh, even somebody that is going through such darkness can experience the most beautiful light and the most beautiful experience. So I cannot judge. I cannot judge anybody's experience. I can only applaud anybody that decides to awaken with us. Let's explain awaken. I had that in my mind. Awakening, for all of the greats like Ram Dass, Eckhart Tolle, even my experience, I think I'm awakened through the experience. If you're able to be one and feel one, so the definition of awakening, from what I can gather, is first you are one, meaning you are just a human, and then you get your awakening and you realize that you are two. You are both soul and body, but your true self is the soul, and and then you become one, because you go back to being the body and the soul, because now inside your awareness you can always go back to your soul and say, hey, look at all of the work that I've done, what can I do more? And then the soul's going to send you back to do some work. Then you're going to come back to your soul and say, here I am now, this is all the work that I've done, what can I do now? And that's the God kind of awakening. So Ram Dass had his awakening when he saw a man, whatever, in India, that a guru, and when he saw him, that guru, even though he was seeing him for the first time, he loved Ram Dass with all of his heart, and that made Ram Dass awaken to love, to the reality of love. So for him, an awakening was this. Eckhart Tolle was so freaking depressed that one night his body just couldn't take it anymore, and he deassociated fully while being aware of what was happening. And in this deassociation, and he became only awareness, he was like on a Sapo trip for like a year or so, from the book that he was saying. But his deassociation was from pure misery, and he couldn't handle it anymore, so the mind totally separated and said, you're so confused, get out of me, almost. And he became source. And that's why Eckhart Tolle, when it comes to the Tao, and anyways, it's all about here and now. And the Bhagavad Gita is super revolutionary. When I listened to it, because I was so here and now, and with Mother Krishna, it was like Mother, it was like it was talking to me. It was the most beautiful. I must have listened to the Bhagavad Gita like 4 times in a row like in 2 days straight. It was insane. I was hooked. So anyways, guys, thank you for listening. This integration really means a lot to me, and I hope that I'm giving you a little bit of clues on what you guys can do, or I don't know, man. My experience might only apply to me, but the breath, feeling a sense of the association, you are not this body, you're not this feeling, really looking at all the paradox to realize that life is perfect, and that whatever you do, it's balanced. It's never going to be perfect, and that's for a reason. Everything will work out. We have to trust in Mother and God. And if you feel like your passion is to do something about something, meaning you want to stand up for X, Y, if it's for the good, you fucking go ahead. My journey is my journey. Everybody, I really, really, really believe that everybody's journey is so unique to each one of you. Meaning, if your passion is music, and even like if you're depressed and you're an artist, or you're not even an artist and you're just depressed, and that's your journey. If you look at this depression in this life and you turn to a higher power, or whatever it may be, and then you get physical symptoms, healing, and the placebo effect and everything like that, then I've done my job. Like, seriously, plant medicine for life, Monkey and Frank for life. You got this, guys. This is Dom, and I love you with all my heart. Have a good night.